Hi, I'm James and you're watching my very first tutorial on how to make the website makethispage.com. So for this tutorial, I assume you've already installed and opened Atom. So that's this app that's on screen here. If not, you can download it at atom.io, or if you need a little help, you can watch my installation walkthrough linked on screen now. Great, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in a line here. So here we go. Now, the first thing you need to do to make your very first web page is just to enter in this line exactly as I've done. So make sure you get the angle brackets in there and the slash before the last one. But once you've done that, all we need to do is save the file. So we'll go up to File and Save. Let's save it to the desktop in a new folder, which we'll call Make This Page. There we go. So then we'll click Create, and let's call the file index.html for a reason I'll explain in another video. Okay, there we go. You've just made your very first page. Congratulations. Wasn't so hard, was it? But I know what you're saying. You're saying this doesn't look anything like a web page. This isn't very cool at all. So that's okay. We can make it look like a web page. All we need to do is open it in a web browser. So let's go over here to index.html and control click or right click. Go down to Show in Finder, and that'll bring up the file that we've just made in Finder. So if we double click on that, that'll open up in a web browser like Safari, and it'll look just like a page. There you go, you've made your very first page. That's pretty cool. You're a programmer now. So now, even I'll admit this is kind of boring. I mean, it's a heading. Let's add a little bit more information to it, just because otherwise, what's the point of making a web page if it's just a single heading? So, leaving Safari open, because we'll come back to it later, we'll go back to Atom. And just a little bit of information about what we've done. So, the first thing we've done is we've made a heading, and that's what this H1 is. It means heading 1. We'll add another thing, so we'll add a paragraph instead. So instead of heading 1, we'll put a P in the angle brackets this time. So let's go opening P, and then I'll just write in some stuff here. So you can write something different. I'm going to write in the complete guide to making this page, and then closing P tag. So opening P tag, closing P tag, that's what we'll call them in the angle brackets. Then I'm going to write in another one just for good measure. So we'll write in another P tag by James K. Nelson, closing P tag. So there we go, we've got a heading and 2 paragraphs. So in order to be able to see these changes in Safari, we need to save them. So Atom is actually kind enough to tell us that we haven't saved it yet. That's what this little blue circle is above H1, so, and on the right of index.html, so you can see that there now, where my mouse is pointing. It'll change to a cross if you hover over it. So that means we haven't saved it yet. And the reason you want to know if we haven't saved it yet is because instead of going to the File menu and saving every time, it's easier to use this shortcut that it's just shown you. So that's the Command key on the keyboard with the S button. So there we go, I've just saved it, and that's why the blue circle has disappeared. I've just pressed Command S on my keyboard, and it's saved. It's way faster to use the keyboard, so we'll try and remember to use those shortcuts. So once we've done that, we'll go back to Safari. Then there's another shortcut, which uses the Command key, just like the one I just showed you for Command S, but we use Command R this time. That'll reload the page. So there we go. I've just pressed Command R, reloaded the page, and your changes have appeared on the browser. So as you can imagine, web pages aren't just limited to using the H1 and P tags like are here in the source code you've just made. There's a whole different type of tags. I'll explain a few of them later in the article, or if you're watching this from YouTube, you can actually view the article by clicking on the link that's on screen now. But just to give you an idea of some of the other tags, like just at the start, I'll introduce you to one more trick that Safari can do, which can show you all of the tags that any web page is using. So back in Safari, we'll need to tell Safari that you're a big kid now before you get access to these tools. So to do that, we'll go up to Safari menu, click Preferences, and see this little line here, Show Develop Menu in Menu Bar. I had it selected, but you probably don't. So let's just make sure that one's selected. That will bring up this Develop menu up here. So once we've got the Develop menu, what I'd like to introduce you to is a feature called Show Page Source. So that's this one here. If we click that, what will happen is the page source for the page you're viewing, just like the stuff you've just currently written, will come up on screen. There we go. So you can see the source code of your web page. But you already knew the source code for your web page, so that's not so interesting. What is interesting is going to another site, like if I type in makethispage.com, the one you'll eventually be able to make, you can see the source code for Make This Page. Awesome. I mean, you can learn so much from doing this. You could go to Google, you could go to Yahoo, you could go to your favorite website, and you can see the source code. Now, one of the problems is, though, that you're not going to have an idea of what a lot of these tags does. But for the moment, there's one kind of rule we can use. If we scroll down a little bit, is everything between the tag called the body tag. Here we go. Yep, so everything in this body tag here is the stuff which appears on screen. And that's going to be a lot easier to figure out than the stuff in the head tag, which is above it. So everything after that opening body tag is worth looking into. You can see here there's a header, there's a section, there's spans, there's A tags. That's something I'll explain in a moment in the article if you read along. But anyway, so you can have a look at all of the tags that a bunch of web pages are reading and learn a lot doing this. And it'll sometimes come in handy to try and fix bugs in your own code. Okay, so I'm going to leave this video tutorial here. Thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned, I'll go into some more detail in the article, which is again linked here, just if you're viewing from YouTube. So if you maybe think you'd like to make a more interesting page, just using a single heading and a couple paragraphs, everyone wants to make a more interesting page. I mean, come on. Imagine all the possibilities. You could make any kind of website that you can think of. All you need to do is keep reading or click the link, and keep reading. Thanks for watching.